the biggest reason I believe why Bitcoin is not moving, strength of the dollar. Look at this. The dollar index is around 105. Yesterday, it did actually surpass 105. It came back down a little bit. If we go back, look at the last month, it's been going up and up and up and up and up. If you go back 3 months, you'll see that, yes, we formed a bottom here right around mid-July. And since then, we've been roaring back up to even higher levels than before. And we're all the way back to, let's see, we're all the way back to March levels, okay? And I think this is the biggest reason why tech has been selling off, why Bitcoin has sold off and not moving, because the strength of the dollar keeps on going up. And this is caused by many factors. They could just issue unlimited amount of treasuries right now, and other countries and banks and wealthy people will buy them, right? So it kind of sustains our economy, even though we overspend by $2 trillion every single year right now, right? But this keeps the system going. Now, how this relates to what I've been talking about is, yeah, whenever the DXY goes up and everyone starts buying dollars, well, that means everyone's selling off everything else. So you could see the exact inverse relationship here between Bitcoin's price and the dollar. And this has been charted over many years, not just with Bitcoin. You could chart this with the NASDAQ. You could chart this with the S&P 500. Whatever DXY goes upwards, everything goes downwards. It's almost identical, right? So that's exactly what I believe is happening, right? Bitcoin earlier, just a few months ago, we were hovering 31,000. That's because DXY reached down, well, it fell down to about 99. I mentioned that, right? And recently, it's just been on an absolute tear, right? And look at it. Our current level, if you look at the last time DXY was around this 105 mark, I mentioned about March, right? What price was Bitcoin at in March? 25,000. It was right before we broke above 25 and headed to 30. But we're at the same level as March, right? It makes, unfortunately, I just realized my camera disappeared because I turned it off. That's why. But yeah, so that's the situation. Unfortunately, we are that correlated right now, right? One day, can we become decorrelated? Yes. One day when Bitcoin is much bigger, Bitcoin will be completely decorrelated or decoupled from, tech sector or the DXY or everything else, right? But right now, there is extreme correlation. And look at it. When DXY peaked around November timeframe of 2022, right? Around over 112. That happens to be the time when Bitcoin fell to its lowest point, to about 15,000, right? See, it's like it's extremely correlated. So the biggest reason I believe why Bitcoin is not moving, why tech isn't moving, why so many companies have fallen since July, right, is simply because the dollar is so strong. And it's funny to say that as a country, as citizens of the country with the strongest currency out there, we should all be cheering for this, right? We should all be thinking, yeah, this is awesome. This is why we live in the US, because we have the strongest dollar, we have the strongest currency out there. But when it comes to investing, it actually really sucks. When the dollar gains strength, everything else goes down. There's just no doubt about it. It's proven, right? So until this falls down, we may see our current levels stick. But the good news is people do think that the DXY is going to fall, right? We have hit this ceiling, this resistance point, and we may be falling from 105 once again. And if we do, guess what? Bitcoin will go in the reverse direction, which is upwards and back towards 30,000 and beyond, right? So let's see. Let's see what happens. Here's another interesting one. This is from TechDev. TechDev likes to correlate Bitcoin with the DXY, with the Chinese 10-year rates. He's the only one that does this. But it's actually pretty accurate if you look at it, right? If you look at, basically what he's saying is right now we're in that phase where we should be going higher, because we are in the same phase as all the previous times before, and you could see all the lines that he has drawn and these green dots, right? Basically, this is the time to be bullish. This is basically the time when everything's aligned and we are set to go higher. Not to say that this has been invalidated, because there have been times, if you look at like 2013, there's been times where it went sideways. If you go back before it, you look at 2016 also, we went kind of sideways a little bit, right? So it doesn't mean that you go straight up to the moon. But interesting enough, he's putting it all together and shows that greater days are coming, right? So it could be aligned because DXY have now hit that top of 105 and it's going to start coming down. So that also makes sense if you think about it. But you know what? My point is, yeah, it's a little scary right now, right? There's a lot of reasons why things are down, things that are holding Bitcoin and crypto down. I realize that, okay? But this is temporary. Let's not forget, Bitcoin ETF is right around the corner. In fact, Kathy Wood argues that Grayscale's chances of getting their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust converted to a Bitcoin ETF is sky high. And one of the reasons is looking at the discount value of GDBC versus Bitcoin. At its lowest, it was close to 50% discount, meaning that the shares were actually being sold at a 50% loss, okay, versus Bitcoin's value, right, which is not good. But now it's climbed back up to negative 18%. So obviously a lot more people started buying GBDC because they anticipate that the ETF conversion will happen soon. So I also believe this to be true. There's just no reason why the SEC can give to deny spot Bitcoin ETFs. Now, from a technical standpoint, I know a lot of you guys love your charts, love your lines, but, you know, this is where we are right now, okay? So very similar to previous times. We are in that accumulation mode, right? But what happens after accumulation? We move forward and onwards and higher, as we always do. And here's another example. And where can we head up to this cycle? Well, this one is showing a very conservative number that we only head up to about 135,000, which is still double our previous high. Okay. If the growth curve really starts diminishing and starts curving downwards, then yeah, this makes sense. But again, I would argue that this cycle is going to be very different than previous cycles for many reasons, Bitcoin spot ETFs being one of them, but you have the elections, you have the halving cycle, obviously, and rate cuts, all happening within the same year. So I argue that this cycle, in 2024, we're going to see a tremendous move, and 2025, we're going to see something we have never ever seen before.